yet again to talk about the Baltimore Ravens and everything NFL and even some WWE and whatever else he has to throw at us. He's always dropping free game and he always is so gracious and kind with his time or questions. And even if he pulls up in our city and we show him love. So we appreciate this man. Everybody in the chat, everybody up here, put your hands together. It's time for the one, the only CEO of Ravens YouTube, the one, the only Engraven Vids. Everybody, give it up for Engraven. He's in the building back again. Yes, the CEO. You can use that one, Engraven, if you like.
Man, if I'm the CEO of Ravens YouTube, then they're not in good shape.
Engraven, how you feeling, brother? We're afternoon this weekend. How's the family? How are you doing, first and foremost, man? Because I still don't know when you sleep.
Oh, we good, man. We good. I appreciate y'all having me on as always. But things are good. This was a fun weekend. Of course, WrestleMania. That was cool. It was cool. It has a lot of highs. Had some not necessarily lows, but there's a lot of stuff in there. There's some fillers, as you know, in this business. I get it. But this was a fun weekend, man. I had a good time.
For those who don't know, how can I keep up with you? And what do you do on this here YouTube?
Oh, you can follow me on YouTube. It's Engraven Vids. On Twitter, Instagram, even Facebook. It's all Engraven Vids. And we just try our best to keep everybody up to date with any and everything going on with the Baltimore Ravens. We dibble and dab a little bit in some other stuff in the NFL too, but our primary focus is with the Baltimore Ravens and just making sure we're on top of any type of news that comes out with them. And just really just trying to take care of Team Keep It Clean. Whether it's questions from Team Keep It Clean, where they share their input on what they feeling on the Baltimore Ravens, or really just the NFL in general. And like I said, or just keeping people up to date with everything going on.
We appreciate you, brother. Fellas, let's get to it.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say this because I haven't told you this, but congratulations on the new addition to your family.
Appreciate it, man.
I know it's a very exciting time. So,
oh yeah, for sure. So she's doing June. So we got about 2 months left, 2.5 months left.
That's my birthday month.
Oh joy, Engraven.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. But I know we got to go back to some bad times real quick, man.
Okay.
You had a nice playoff hoodie, for the playoffs.
You start with
rocking that
thing.
You know what I'm saying? It was
run to Vegas. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And
Let it go.
We was gonna do some things. We were supposed to go to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? But things didn't go our way, and we got exited out at the championship game.
Yeah.
I know how I watched the videos. I seen how it played out, of course, and your reaction to it. But for those who haven't seen your reaction, can you give us a recap of pretty much the season in general and your thoughts about just what happened in that damn game?
Season was great. The regular season was amazing. It reminded me like a little of 2019. But just like because once Ravens got rolling, that was a wrap. I know they started off a little shaky, but that was to be expected. It's the beginning of the season. And they once they picked it up though, they got going and they had this stretch of games against like these teams that some of them were like that and some of them were all right, but they had this tough stretch of games that included games against the 49ers, the Chargers, the Rams, the Dolphins, and they took care of business against everybody. They ended up earning a number 1 seed. Defense was amazing. The offense was looking good. And we was thinking like, oh yeah, this is it, man. Things lining up nice. Like even things just kept happening to where we was like, oh yeah, the Ravens, they going to the Super Bowl, like straight up. And not even bias included. Like I remember talking to so many other people, fans of other teams, people that I know personally. They're like, hey, your Ravens, they going to the Super Bowl for sure. I was like, hey, I hope so. It's looking like it. But they look great. And it's like stuff just kept lining up because I know with there were different people that were getting injured and stuff, but like on other teams, there were different teams that just like when Ravens needed another team to lose a game in order to propel them up, to keep them at the number one spot, or move them up in rankings or whatever, that team would end up losing just about every time. And then when Ravens, they needed to take care of their own business to hold down the number one spot, they did it. And then even with Mark Andrews was a big blow. And we were like, oh, man, we probably lost Mark Andrews for the season. That sucks. It's bad. But then they were like, hold up. Mark Andrews, he can come back. And we were like, oh, man, he coming back just in time for the Super Bowl run. Let's go. But then it came playoff time. They went against the Houston Texans. They went in the halftime, tied up 10-10, and they were looking a little rusty. But then in the second half, that's when they start taking off. But then, of course, that AFC Championship game, like you mentioned, it was just a rough game, a weird game. It did not feel as close as it was, because it just felt like the Ravens were getting just dogged like all game. But that's what makes it even worse, is the fact that it was close all game. Ravens weren't playing their own game. They weren't being themselves, but it was still a close game literally the entire time. And then it's like at the worst moment, Patrick Mahomes on the 3rd and long. And if Ravens would have got a stop, they would have had a chance to tie the game up and send it to overtime, or possibly go for 2 and go for the win. But it was 3rd and long, and Patrick Mahomes threw it up to MVS, and he caught it on Arthur Millette for the first down, and that was the game ender officially. But it was unfortunate, man. Ravens, they continue to be their own worst enemy in the absolute worst moments, and it seems like they just crumble. They crumble in the biggest of moments, and they got to find a way to fix that. So hopefully this season they'll fix it. I know a lot of Ravens fans do not have the most hope and most faith in the team, which I can completely understand, especially given all the players that the Baltimore Ravens lost this offseason. And they've gained some too, for sure, but they had a lot more losses than gains. But the offseason is still young. They still got a ways to go. Obviously, the draft coming up in a couple of weeks. Free agency literally never stops. There's options for trades. So you can build this team again. And what we're hoping is that a lot of trends continue. One of them trends being the Baltimore Ravens winning the Super Bowl every 12 years. If they win it this year, that will continue that. And even going back to the 2011 season, the 2011 team, in my opinion, they were much better than the 2012 team. But the 2011 team, they did not win at all. But they came back the next year. Team was not as good, but they finished the job. So hopefully the Ravens could get their Cody on this year and finish their story.
Oh, man. Yeah, I hope they can finish their story as well. I'm just like you. I was watching that AFC Championship game, and I figured we was gonna get the job done. It didn't happen. Very depressed about it. I was really upset about that game. I didn't really want to talk about it for a good minute. But yeah. I mean, I think all of Baltimore was feeling that. A lot of Ravens fans was feeling that. So yeah, we're gonna put it on the back burner. We had to get that out the way because we haven't talked to you in a while, so I had to get your thoughts on that. But go ahead, Dre or Gravante.
All right, well, I'll get to it because we're close to the draft. Who do you think the Ravens should pick with their first round pick?
Ooh, that's a good one. Because they certainly gonna have options. Troy Fatanu, if he is available, he probably won't though. But I would say him, because in my opinion, you can't necessarily pigeonhole it to, all right, they got to pick an offensive lineman with their first pick, because you don't want to reach. Of course, you want to do best player available, but then when you have so many needs, you almost feel like you might be pigeonholed into drafting for need instead of best player available. But with the Baltimore Ravens, I feel like in this draft, they have to come away obviously with at least one starter on the offensive line, but I think at least one starter and another person that's going to be starting very, very soon. Reason being because this is the last year of Ronnie Stanley's contract. He's a free agent next year. And this is a time that a lot of Ravens fans have been waiting on for them to move on from Ronnie Stanley. But there's going to be some dead money with it. But Ronnie Stanley becoming a free agent, this is like a great situation, in my opinion, because you can get possibly the best Ronnie Stanley that you can possibly get, because he's playing to show his next team like, hey, I can still play and I should still get paid, And the way that his contract is set up now with the Baltimore Ravens, he got per game roster bonuses. So if he plays, he'll get paid. If he does not play, then he won't get paid. So it's set up perfectly for him and for the Baltimore Ravens. But back to the draft, you need to start looking for his replacement. So whether you do that this year or you do it next year, or you do a combination of this and next year, you have to start looking for Ronnie Stanley's replacement. So I would say an offensive lineman. If not an offensive lineman, I know this pick may be a little bit crazy, maybe a little bit. Some people may not like it, and that's okay. Because we got Zay Flowers, we got Rashad Bateman, we got Nelson Aguilar and Tylan Wallace. But I would actually say I would not be mad if they went receiver, whether it be Keon Coleman, whether it be Adonai Mitchell, whether it be Xavier Worthy, even though Xavier Worthy, he probably won't be there. But if they can get a receiver with their first round pick, because with Rashad Bateman, I like Rashad Bateman. I think Rashad Bateman can be really good, but you cannot keep banking on potential. You cannot keep hoping that he breaks out. You can't keep like, all right, hey, this could be it for Rashad Bateman. This might be the year. You can't rely on that. So I think it may be time to pivot in another direction. Or another move that they could do with the first round pick would be to trade it and either trade back into the second round, get some more picks, or trade it for a proven player.
A proven player such as maybe a DK Metcalf.
I would love that. I wish they could do that because again, like
All of us wish, man.
that'd be nice, man. But a DK Metcalf would be nice. Brandon Ayuk, he would be nice. Because those guys, they just fit. They physical. They and it's the big thing with Bate. That where there seems to be a disconnect is when everything breaks down, and it's crazy because I know in the I don't know if it was in an episode of Wired or if it was NFL Films. I'm not sure what it was, but they were showing there was a play that broke down. I forgot what play it was, but Lamar, he wanted Rashad Bateman to go deep, but Rashad Bateman, he was just staying where he was at. And then after the play, Lamar was like, I wanted you to go that way. I wanted you to go deep. And but Rashad Bateman was like that. So there's just that disconnect, man. There's that disconnect. So we just, again, hopefully it does click this season, but I would love if the Ravens address the wide receiver position in a major way. They're clearly looking for somebody because they brought in Michael Gallup a couple weeks ago. They brought in Josh Reynolds right behind him. So they're looking, but I hope they find the right person and not just sign somebody just to say, oh, we got somebody. I don't think they would do that anymore because it seems like they're really going in a different direction, especially over these past couple of years at the receiver position, but we'll see soon.
All right, well, let me ask you a follow-up question to that then. How do you feel about Odell Beckham Jr. not coming back next season? And how do you feel about what he was able to contribute to the Ravens the one season he was there?
Odell Beckham Jr., that signing was priceless. Reason being, he got paid a lot of money. The production obviously didn't match the money, but them keeping Lamar Jackson did. Because Lamar Jackson, he ain't want to talk to the Ravens unless they got Odell Beckham Jr. or DeAndre Hopkins. So that made it worth it with just being able to keep Lamar Jackson. With Odell Beckham Jr., he was all right. Didn't drop the ball. He's not the same Odell Beckham Jr. that he used to be, but that was expected. But with Odell Beckham Jr., sometimes it would when he was running straight, it was solid. But when he had to like cut, when he tried to do a little spin move, make somebody miss it, be like, oh, okay, this ain't this definitely ain't Giants Odell Beckham Jr. It'd be kind of like, oh man, this is tough. But hey, he was out there trying. But with him, I'm not surprised that they didn't bring him back. I'm not mad that they didn't bring him back. If they would have brought him back, it would have been cool, but it could not have been in $15 million per year. Not at all. But with Odell, it was sad because he could still catch, he could still run a little bit, but he was always hurt. And with Odell Beckham Jr., he has been a phenomenal receiver throughout his career, but he's always been hurt. He's always had injury issues. So him at this stage of his career, couldn't expect him to be healthy. I was hoping that he would be healthy, but couldn't realistically expect him to be healthy last year. So whether he ends up going this upcoming season, whether it is Miami, because a lot of people talking about, the Dolphins are really, really trying to sign Odell, wherever it ended up being, I hope that he can be healthy, but I just really can't expect it.
Now, with what we know is the off season, and we know we can't keep everybody from last year's team.
Right.
So we had a lot of departures so far. But my biggest pet peeve is the departure of Patrick Queen
Oh.
and the team that he went to. What are your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts on Patrick Queen becoming a Pittsburgh Steeler?
Patrick Queen surprised me, man. I was for sure, for certain, that he was going to go to the Seahawks. Especially when Mike McDonald, I thought him and Geno Stone were definitely headed to the Seahawks because they had just got rid of a linebacker and a safety too. So I was like, oh yeah, he just clearing the way, but it didn't happen. So he signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, somebody brought this to my attention. They said I wonder if that's sort of a sign that maybe Mike McDonald really didn't really think too highly of Patrick Queen. He didn't even want to bring him on board, but who knows? But with Patrick Queen, I like Patrick Queen. Now that he's with the Steelers, I feel like he really helped sort of reignite the rivalry because for years it's been dead. It's like a dead rivalry. Yeah, it's still Ravens Steelers, but it's not the same, and it's not even half as close as what it used to be. And that's for a couple of different reasons. Because there's a lot of games that Lamar has missed against the Steelers, so not having your starting quarterback out there is just not the same. And then a lot of the games end up being meaningless too. Like you look at the last game of last season, the Ravens ain't even played the starters against the Steelers because they had already clinched the number 1 seed. So with that being said, hopefully with Patrick Queen going there, that does reignite the rivalry. So because that was somebody who a lot of Ravens fans will say, "Oh, I don't care about no Patrick Queen. He can go wherever. He's sorry anyway." A lot of Ravens fans will say that, but then he went to the Steelers and everybody freaking out, like, "Oh, why would he go there? He's a traitor." And da da da. His business, man. Patrick Queen, he went to go get his money, got his 3-year, $41 million deal. And we're gonna see. But I think if the Steelers, Mike Tomlin and them allow Patrick Queen to just play free, then I think he's gonna do good because he got guys at the different levels of the defense that are really good. He got Minka Fitzpatrick. When he's healthy, he could be good. You got Joey Porter Jr. At cornerback. Then he'll be in his second year, so he'll be even better. Then you got TJ Watt, one of the best defensive players in the game. You also got Cam Hayward. He's a really good defensive lineman as well. So Patrick Queen, and they got Alex Highsmith too. So Patrick Queen, in the middle of all of that, it's a good situation for him. So I'm looking forward to seeing Patrick Queen on the Steelers and just making that Ravens Steelers rivalry have some life in it again.
What did you think about Derrick Henry and Kyle Van Noy, real quick and Gravel?
Oh, coming back to Derrick Henry coming to the Ravens and Kyle Van Noy coming back. Kyle Van Noy, I think with Kyle Van Noy, I think it was important. And I think with Jadeveon Clowney signing with the Panthers, Kyle Van Noy, he used that to his advantage because that made him that much more valuable to the Baltimore Ravens because they were like, oh, we already lost Jadeveon Clowney. Now we really got to get Kyle Van Noy back. And Kyle Van Noy could be sitting back watching that and telling his agent, like, all right, yeah, they got to really run my money now. So that worked out in his favor, but it worked out for the Baltimore Ravens too because they ended up getting him. And I think they had to get him because with the edge position and pass rush, you got Odafe away, still waiting on him. You got David Ajabo. When he plays, he's productive, but that's the thing. He just never plays because he's just been hurt. So you're hoping that he can be healthy this season, but you can't count on that. You also got Tavius Robinson. He was a rookie last year. Didn't really see too much out of him because it was limited snaps. So you don't know what you have in him. So there's a lot of unknowns at the edge, outside linebacker, pass rush position. So this was a good move getting Kyle Van Noy. And I think he got 9 sacks last year, and they signed him after week 3. So he wasn't even with the Ravens the whole season. He was not with the Ravens at all during the offseason. They tried to sign him in the offseason, but it obviously ain't work out. But they signed him after week 3, and he came in and got 9 sacks. Like, man, how do you do that? So that was a career high for him. So now you just hope that he can continue to build off of that. And the Ravens pass rush, which I would expect, especially the status of it right now, to really be a pass rush by committee, like they have been for a little while now. But it's going to be interesting to see what Zach Orr does, Ravens' new defensive coordinator, to get the most out of this pass rush. Oh, and Derrick Henry. I really did like that move, but not for a regular season. I mean, I think he'll be fine in the regular season, but I think this was more so a playoff move because with Ravens in the playoffs recently, they haven't had a running back there that they've been paying significant money to, and he's been available. Like the last running back that they gave a sort of significant deal to was Mark Ingram back in 2019. They signed him to a 3-year, $15 million deal. So it was only $5 million per. So not too much, but still a notable name back there. But back in 2019, when it was playoff time, he had a high ankle sprain. So he wasn't even healthy. And Ravens, they ain't want to run the ball with their running backs anyway. So that ain't even end up meaning nothing. But the years after that, it's been guys like J.K. Dobbins. It's been guys like Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, guys who they not really paying much money to. So when the game is close, when you really should be running the ball a little bit more, they might look back there and like, oh, it ain't no big deal. But now the game close, you need to run the ball. You look back there, you see Derrick Henry, you can't miss him. So that'll give you a nice reminder, especially all the cash that you cut to him in a check. So it'll give the Ravens a reminder, like, oh yeah, we got Derrick Henry. Yeah, let's use that because they made a significant investment in a Derrick Henry. So I'm hoping that pays off in the playoffs much more than the regular season.
Do you think that Brandon Stevens is our best corner on the team, or do you think he's the most important person that we need to keep after next year?
Oh, that's a good question.
As far as the cornerback position.
Yeah, I don't think he's the best corner on the team. Still think that's Marlon Humphrey. Because Marlon Humphrey he's been more consistent and he's been more established. Brandon Stevens, he had a great year last year. He had an amazing year last year. But now it's time to build off of that. Now, can you build consistency? Are you just going to be a one-hit wonder, or are you going to continue to do really good? So now we're waiting on that. But if they could keep him, if he continues how he did last year, oh yeah, I'd be all for keeping him for sure. But yeah, Marlon Humphrey, he's still the best corner on the team. As far as the most important person in the secondary to keep, if we just talking corners, then yeah, because Marlon Humphrey's under contract right now. If they could get Brandon Stevens to a good contract, and I think I think he has 1 year left on his deal, I believe.
Yes.
So with the Ravens, they usually they like trying to sign guys early rather than wait till their contract runs out. So that would be one that I wouldn't be surprised if they sign him to a contract extension this offseason to lock him up at a reasonable rate while they could get him for cheap right now. Because especially these players, they get in the contract, get them prices, they keep going up. Like look at Justin Madubuike. The Ravens tried to sign Justin Madubuike last offseason, but he said no, we ain't signing with y'all yet. And he went out there, killed it, crushed it. His price went through the roof. Ravens still paid him now, which was great. But they if they would have signed him before, they would have had him for a lot cheaper. But I'm sure him getting even more money in the future that gave him a nice little extra motivation while he was playing this past season. So it ended up working out in his favor for sure. But with Brandon Stevens, yeah, that'd be nice to get him locked up, especially if he can continue playing like he did last year.
Speaking of Madubuike, do you think he's going to repeat what he did last year, or do you think he takes a significant, well, not significant, but a little slight?
No, I don't think he'll repeat what he did last year. That'd be great if he did, but I don't think he will, simply because I think people will be respecting him more. He'll be commanding more attention now. So with more attention, then that's more double teams, more people on you. I think he'll still produce, but I don't think it's going to be no 13 sacks like it was last year. Now, hey, if he does that, great, because he could start following in the footsteps of the guy that he trained with for so long, that being Aaron Donald. Because Aaron Donald was just weird. It's like, how does a defensive tackle, not even a defensive end, but a defensive tackle, an interior defensive lineman, continue to get double-digit sacks like that? Aaron Donald ain't make no kind of sense whatsoever. So hopefully with Justin Madubuike, he don't make no kind of sense either, but in that Aaron Donald type of way.
All right. We've been talking about players, this player, that player. Let's go to the coaching staff. John Harbaugh.
Yeah.
So the AFC Championship.
Mm-hmm.
So now, I was saying before the season started, the Ravens absolutely have to get to the AFC Championship. Like that is the bare minimum. Have to be a part of the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
If the Ravens do not make it to the AFC Championship this year, how hot will John Harbaugh's seat become?
That's a tough question. Because I'm somebody that feels like John Harbaugh is probably one of the safest coaches in the league. I don't necessarily think he always should be, but the reality of it is that he is. He's been with the Ravens since 2008. Wow, that's a long time, man. But he's been with the Ravens since 2008, and obviously got the Super Bowl in the 2012 season. Has been to the playoffs a lot. Does not have many losing seasons. I think maybe two. And one of them was when they went 5-11, and that's when everybody got hurt in 2015. And the other, I think it was when Lamar got hurt, and what did they go 7-9? I forgot what it was, but anyway, um, doesn't have many losing seasons, but is also the Ravens general manager's next door neighbor. He lives right next to Eric DaCosta, so that helps his situation a lot. And with John Harbaugh, you hear people say it all the time. Whenever you hear one conversation, somebody say, "Oh, get rid of John Harbaugh." Ravens need to get rid of John Harbaugh. People would be like, "Well, if not Harbaugh, then who?" It's like, okay, well, let them figure that out. And they say, "Oh, well, the grass ain't always greener, buddy." And it's like, "Oh, okay, well, the grass that we've been mowing for these last 4 or 5 years, it ain't green at all. I mean, we get close, but again, they just had this like scared mentality, and it's like the weirdest thing. But yeah, if they don't make if they didn't make the AFC Championship, if they didn't make even the playoffs, I think his seat would need to be really hot. But I just don't think that it would be. I think that the Ravens front office, I think that they would give him grace. I don't think John Harbaugh is ever gonna be fired from the Baltimore Ravens. I think he will. The only way that he leaves is on his own terms. I don't think they're ever gonna fire him at all, no matter what happens.
There's a Rashid Rice situation that he caused himself with the Kansas City Chiefs. Overshadow Zay Flowers situation. Do you think Zay gets off now because of it?
No, I don't, because they're two completely different situations, two completely different players, two completely different teams, two completely different incidences. So no, I think both players will be dealt with accordingly from the NFL, and there will be some type of definitely suspension, fine, and all that for Rasheed Rice. And as far as for Zay Flowers, I think there's still a chance that he could get suspended from the league, because even though they put his case on pause, the league, they go by their own rules, man. They it's about protecting the shield, and they do their own thing. So I can still see them issuing some type of discipline to Zay Flowers.
Got anything, Dre?
You know what? I'll ask him, since we've been talking about Roman Reigns, the tribal chief. We went to the AFC Championship game and we couldn't get past the tribal chief.
Right.
What do you feel like the Ravens need to do in order to get over the hump of the Chiefs? Because it seems like that's the team that's standing in our way of getting a Super Bowl championship.
Stop being scared. Stop playing scared. Stop trying to play for Lamar. Stop trying to play prove it ball. A lot of times it can seem like with Lamar, especially against the Chiefs, that he will not play his game, and he'll be trying to prove to haters and naysayers or doubters, be trying to prove them wrong a lot of times. I think with Lamar, the most important thing is just winning. Say, for instance, he goes out there and he threw for 201 yards and he ran for 101 yards, but the Ravens got the win. You're going to hear people say, "Oh, he should have thrown for a lot more. That's not a real quarterback. Oh, man, he's got all them running yards." But if they won the game, that would be all that mattered. And if the same thing ended up happening in the Super Bowl, he ended up only throwing for so many passing yards and ended up rushing for a nice chunk of yards, and the Ravens win, people would say the same thing. "Oh, man, he should have thrown for more yards. Oh, wow, he was running all over the place. Why was he running so much?" But if the Ravens got the win, that's something that you can never take away from them, no matter what you say. They will be Super Bowl champions. So I think that's a big part of it right there. Lamar just playing his game. The Ravens front office not coaching scared or being scared, and the Ravens just really manning up against whoever it might be, and really continuing or really being themselves and continuing to be themselves in the playoffs too. Do what got you there. Play to your strengths. And that's something that the Ravens have not been doing, especially when it counts the most.
All right. Then I have a follow-up question about it's still in the AFC. I want to ask you, what do you think about the division, being that Russell and Justin are now with Pittsburgh? You have Joe Burrow coming back healthy, and the Browns was able to steal one from us. So how do you feel about the division this year?
Oh, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be competitive as always. The AFC North, they were the only division I believe in last year who did not finish with the losing record at all. And that says a lot. Ravens, obviously, they had the best team in the league. But you look at the Browns. Browns, they played Deshaun Watson. They played DTR. They played Joe Flacco. Who was the other quarterback that they had? They had another quarterback in there too that played. They went through 4 quarterbacks and still did not have a losing record. Like, that's crazy. And they made the playoffs too. That's insane. You look at the Bengals, yeah, they lost Joe Burrow, but yeah, he'll be back. And then the Steelers with Russell Wilson. I mean, the Steelers, I know you heard the thing over and over. Oh, Mike Tomlin never had a losing record. And he hasn't, but there's been some 9-7s and there's been some like close ones and whatnot. But still, he technically has not had a losing record. But for Russell Wilson to come in and really contribute to the Pittsburgh Steelers, he gotta be better than Kenny Pickett. That's all he gotta do. So that's really, in my opinion, no pressure at all.
Low bar.
Yeah, exactly. So and then you think about that, the Steelers are in a great situation with him because, say for instance, he goes out there and does bad. They got him on a 1-year deal for like 1 point something million. It's vet minimum because he's still getting his 38 mil from the Broncos. So worst case scenario, if he doesn't work out, Steelers could be like, okay, bye, that's it. And then with them getting Justin Fields too, that could be fun. That could be something right there because with Justin Fields, you know, he been a little up and down, but a lot of people think it could have possibly been a situation that he was in with the Chicago Bears, and they haven't been the best run organization recently. So we'll see, because Russell Wilson is your hero right now, but Justin Fields could possibly be the future. So that's going to be something to watch for. But the AFC North, like always, man, it's going to be fun. It's going to be really competitive. It's going to be close games, and there's going to be some blowouts here and there too. But Ravens, it's very important that they stay on top of things, that they don't just, we were AFC North champs last year, we got it this year. No, you started from scratch. Everybody got a shot now. Everybody got a chance now. So it ain't going to be so easy to run it back.
Going into year 2 with Todd Monken in this offense. Now, I'm not sure how you can get better than a second MVP award that Lamar Jackson got. But do you expect Lamar Jackson to take another significant jump in year 2 with the weapons that he does have on the team and the weapons that he's going to get with Todd Monken in the offense?
I would, because it'll be another year into the system, another year more comfortable for both Lamar Jackson and Todd Monken. So another year with familiarity, with each other. What they both like to do, what they both like to call in different situations, what they're both comfortable with, and then just continuing to grow and build chemistry with whatever pass catches on the team, and running backs too, of course. Now you have a Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry, he just commands so much attention. And what's crazy about him is that with the Tennessee Titans, he was behind a bad offensive line. When you think about the Titans, yeah, you're going to think about Derrick Henry. That's the guy who you want to stop. But he still continued to produce every single year. And that's insane to me. That's crazy how he did that. So with the Baltimore Ravens, now you have him on your team. So now you got to worry about Derrick Henry, but you got to worry about Zay Flowers. You got to worry about Mark Andrews. You got to worry about Likely. You got to worry about Lamar Jackson. So now he has a lot of other guys around him that you got to worry about. So that will make Todd Monken's job a lot easier and Lamar Jackson's job a lot easier, because there won't be as much focus on him. There's going to be focus on Derrick Henry. So that can really help with them play actions too.
Anything, Dre and Byron? No.
Raven, I was going to ask, what do you think about 2 teams that stick out to me? What do you think about Ravens West, the Chargers, pretty much rebuilding the 2019 Ravens with G-Roll, bringing in Hayden Hurst, Gus Edwards. They got all the former Ravens from that team. Looks like they're going to run the football. And what do you think about the Houston Texans? They made a lot of big moves this offseason. I'm not ready to crown them yet. They're still young, and we don't play games till September. And Stephon Diggs is a headache more than he's a production player sometimes. What do you think about those two teams? They jump out to me.
Oh man. With the Texans, they went crazy this offseason. And yeah, they were already pretty good last year. Like you mentioned, they were very young, but they show a lot of promise. Now, promise obviously don't get the job done because the Baltimore Ravens both started and ended the Texans season last year, but they still did show a lot of promise. CJ Stroud, he's really good, man. He's nice. I really like CJ Stroud, and for them to build on what they had, they're showing everybody how it should be done. You should fully take advantage of your quarterback being on a rookie deal. With Stephon Diggs, Stephon Diggs is funny because Stephon Diggs, for the first year two, Stephon Diggs cool. Caused no problems. He ain't out there tweeting nothing crazy for the first year or two. He's straight. So with the Houston Texans, they only got him for 1 year. So they ain't even got to worry about none of the drama. If they had him for like 2 or 3 years, like it was originally said, then I would be like, okay, maybe in that second or third year, we might have to make some decisions. But they got him for 1 year. After this year, he's a free agent. So you ain't even got to worry about him being a headache or nothing like that. Now, what was the other team you mentioned?
Ravens West, Los Angeles
the Chargers. Yeah. The Chargers.
2019 Ravens.
They
got Joe Ortiz in there, all
the Ravens, the director or the former Ravens director, pro personnel got Jim Harbaugh, Johnny's little brother, which is crazy. But anyway, Greg Roman's in the building, Gus Edwards, Bradley Bozeman, Hayden Hurst. They brought in J.K. Dobbins for a visit. I feel like, they just signed Ben Mason too. So yeah, a lot of old Ravens over there. With Justin Herbert, I know he got to be looking around like, what is going on here? They traded Keenan Allen to the Bears. They cut Mike Williams. So they're really doing like some real 2020 Ravens type of stuff. Because they remember, I know y'all remember there were reports that the Chargers were over the salary cap and they could possibly get rid of these 4 players. And Keenan Allen, Mike Williams were 2, and the other 2 were Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. But they kept the defensive guys, but they let go of the offensive guys. So I was like, oh yeah, that's real like Raven-esque right there. But I feel like with Justin Herbert, he may have to make sure them cleats are tight because you're gonna be taking off, my friend. But I can see I can see his passing yards going down. His touchdowns are probably remaining the same, but his interceptions going down because with Greg Roman's offense, it's an offense that's really built off of efficiency, getting the most out of the least. So I think they'll be solid. But they in a division with the Chiefs. So it's like, how much can you really do in that division?
Good, Clemente, you got something?
Well, shoot, I was about to say, man, I think they're only looking up because with the and big ups to AP getting the job with the Raiders. Love that move, but don't you think the Chargers are only looking up because the Broncos and the Raiders are kind of in the rear view?
I think with the Raiders, like they don't even really have a quarterback right now. I don't think.
Right.
They got Aiden McConnell, I think that's his name. So they in limbo at quarterback position. The Broncos, they ain't got their quarterback either. So that's who knows what's gonna happen there. So I mean, depending on what happens at the quarterback position for both of those teams, that can change everything. But with the Chargers having their quarterback, that does obviously help. But the team that definitely has their quarterback is the Chiefs. And the Chiefs, they got the quarterback, the coaching staff, they got that right. So
they even got Taylor Swift.
That's true. That's true. That's how I was hoping. Like I remember when, like last year. Oh, this is a shame. But last year, I remember when the rumors. But last year, when the rumors were coming out that first it was Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, I said, "Oh man, we got to go against that now too." But so I was hoping like we could fight fire with fire. And there were rumors that Odell Beckham Jr. was dating Kim Kardashian. I was like, all right, so this could possibly work in our favor because we got to go against the NFL and stuff. but it didn't. It was too little, too late, man. So you know how that went.
Man, yeah, that was a pretty that was a pretty good tandem. The NFL made a lot of money off of Taylor Swift, and
Yeah,
probably will continue to make off of
But
Taylor Swift
business.
in the near future.
Yeah.
But yeah, but we're going into a new season after the draft. What are your thoughts on this upcoming team? Do you think because we have a brutal schedule. Let's just be honest. Our schedule is going to be brutal. We got the number one schedule because we was number one in the division. Do you think we'll win as many games as we did last year, or do you think we take a step back in that category? Or what are your thoughts? And although we know the team is not fully developed just yet.
Right. Yeah, they still got a lot of work to do. They went 13-4 last year. If Lamar Jackson's healthy, I think they could reach that again. Maybe a slight step back, maybe like 12-5, something like that. But if Lamar's healthy, they're gonna be straight. They got the core, a lot of the core of their players already. You got Lamar Jackson, quarterback. You got tight ends, Mark Andrews, and likely you got Zay Flowers at receiver. Still need to add a little more there. But you got your Derrick Henry. You got to fix the offensive line because you got some holes there right now. But on offense, you got your core guys. On defense, interior defensive lineman Matabike and Michael Pierce. Edge, you just brought back Kyle Vanoy. You got a Daffy away, so the Jabo's there too. So there's still little question marks there. But at cornerback, Marlon Humphrey should be healthy. Brandon Stevens was excellent last year. Arthur Millette, your slot guy. Then at safety, you got Marcus Williams. Hopefully he can stay healthy. These first 2 years have been terrible for him health wise. But then you got Kyle Hamilton. It'll be nice for them to add another safety back there. Who that could be? It could be somebody on the team. Maybe it could be an external guy. But either way, they're gonna need to have another safety back there so Kyle Hamilton can continue to just roam around free and do what he does because he's not just a safety. He's just a baller. He's just a football player. So with this team coming up this year, they have most of their core guys, and with that does help a lot. So I do think that they can be really good with the holes that they still have right now. They still Eric DeCosta's got a lot of work to do, and I feel like there's no room for error when it comes to him building this roster. Now, last year he definitely did his part. He did more than enough with building the roster. He gave them everything that they needed in order to win the Super Bowl, but they failed, and they failed in a big way. So let's see how he builds the roster this year, and let's see what the Baltimore Ravens do with it. Right now, I obviously hope that they're a Super Bowl team. I can't call them that right now at this moment, but I mean, it's April 8th. So we got a long ways to go. We got a little over 5 months before the season starts. So let's see how they finish building the team and building the roster, and then we'll talk then.
Engraven, real quick, rank the quarterbacks in this year's draft. I know Caleb Williams is getting a lot of slack, but he has that it factor, it seems. You got Jaden Daniels, who's getting comparisons to Lamar Jackson. Drake May, people don't really like.
Bring him here.
He's
Bring him
falling
here.
down.
Bring him here. No, the second guy you said, bring him here.
Yeah, yes, Cavante, yes. Drake May seems to be the guy that's going to slide. Michael Penix, where does he go? And is J.J. McCarthy really that good? I'm not buying it personally.
So if I had to rank them, I'm gonna go Caleb Williams at 1. I'm gonna go Jaden at 2. Oh no! I'm gonna go Drake at 2, Jaden at 3, Penix at 4, and then I go JJ 5. I feel like I missed somebody. Did I miss anybody?
Bo Nix, but it's okay.
Well,
no! I ain't missed nobody. I don't know. I watched him last year against Colorado, because that game had a lot of hype going into it. So let me check this game out. So I watched it. I don't know. To me, I just wasn't really impressed. Man. Go ahead.
I said the same thing. I'm not impressed. Like it's something to be said. That's about somebody that's been in the college ranks for 7, 8, 10 years, however long he's been playing quarterback, and he's been at Auburn, and he comes to Oregon. It's like, yo, that Auburn was the place to do it in SEC. got washed out, transferred to Oregon, and I'm like, I never believed it. I just never believed, and he never beat Washington either. So it's like you go to a lesser conference and you're not even. I don't know. But Bo Nix is not it to me.
Yeah, I don't see it at all. So, but we'll see what the draft says, man.
Yes, sir. You got anything else, Cavante?
Nah, that's
I'll give you
it,
the
man.
last word.
UConn covered every single game ATS against the spread in the tournament. Crazy.
Wow.
Every single one.
Any questions for your Commanders?
Man.
All right, one man, because I was gonna leave it out. Okay, I was gonna leave it out. But one Commanders question: how important? No, not even that, because it's very important. What are the chances that we could make some noise just in our division if we get the right guy into?
Right. That quarterback position is everything. But there's always a shot. Like NFC East is weird, man.
Yes, it is.
They're really weird, and they're weird every single year. So you got Dak Prescott, you got from the Eagles,
Hurts.
Man, I could not remember his last name. Yeah, Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
And then Commanders is a question mark right now. And then the Giants, I think that's a question mark too, because I know I've seen stuff that they say they wanted to cut and get rid of Daniel Jones. So yeah, I feel like not that it's wide open, but like usually the Cowboys, they'll be running away with it, but it's not like Cowboys and Eagles. I feel like they one of those teams that start off strong, but toward the end they start like slacking, especially the Eagles. So Washington, like they're gonna have their chances, man. They like Washington remind me of the Steelers a little bit because when you think about you think two teams, you think about the Cowboys, you think about the Commanders, and you think, oh no, Cowboys are a much better team and whatnot. They've been going to the playoffs year after year, and the Commanders they've been struggling for a while, but they still like a thorn in the side of the NFC East. They still be hanging around. So if they get the right quarterback, man, yeah, I mean, you know that can change everything because that can take a team that's looking like they down in the dumps and inject new life. Like remind me of 2018 and with the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, different teams, different rosters, different coaching staff, different franchise, but still 2018 with the Baltimore Ravens. I remember watching Joe Flacco and just watching the team. And it was actually a game against the Steelers. And Joe Flacco just looked done, man. Like he did not want to play. And I was just like, oh, yeah, here we go. This is terrible. Then they said Joe Flacco had a hip injury and Lamar Jackson was going to play now. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. All right, let's see. And he won, 6 out of 7 games after that. So I was like, oh, okay. So that gave us new life and new hope as a franchise. And obviously it ended up going in Ravens' favor. Still waiting on some other things to work out. But as far as regular, like Lamar obviously changed the game and has 2-time MVP and just a countless amount of records and awards and all that good stuff. So I say all that to say this, that you get the right quarterback, you get the right guy back there, that can literally change everything. And not saying that like, because I know they do say like Jaden Daniels, he's like Lamar Jackson, whatnot.
You know what? I disagree. I said he reminds me of RG3, which terrifies me.
Oh, yeah, it's personal.
That terrifies me. But he's as electrifying. He could be as electrifying as Lamar Jackson, but man, he takes too many hits. Lamar, it's hard to get a direct shot on Lamar Jackson. Mm-hmm. But Jaden Daniels is taking a lot of, I'll say, Anthony Richardson-esque hits.
Ooh.
And that's terrifying to me.
That is scary. That is really scary. So I mean, you hope somebody can get in his ear like fast if that's the case, because as you know, with RG3, like he came out. I remember his first game of his career. I think it was against the Saints, and he threw that bomb for a touchdown. I forgot to who it was, but RG3 he came out hot, man. And the game against the Ravens, with Lodi Nada, he just turned his legs sideways and all that same year, and that was a wrap for him from there. He came back too early in the playoffs against the Seahawks, ended up getting re-injured again. But nothing was ever the same for him after that. He went to the Browns. He obviously went to the Ravens for a little bit, but that was just the beginning of the end. So you hate to see that, especially with all the potential that RG3 had too, man. Like that dude, he was something, man. But injuries just they killed it for him. So you obviously hope that same thing wouldn't happen with Jaden Daniels. But so we'll see, man. We'll see. It's we got 3 weeks. About 3 weeks.
Oh boy.
So they start deciding who they're gonna take, and then we go from there, man. But it's a fun time, especially for like a team like the Commanders, because again, quarterback can change everything. A quarterback can change literally an entire franchise, for better or for worse, as we all know and we all have experience with. So we'll see. We'll see real soon, man.
And Graven, how can the people keep up with you? And what do you have cooking on the channel? Because you got videos dropping. Might have one dropping right now.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all again, man. But not just daily videos or everything going on with the Baltimore Ravens right now. Things been a bit slow, a little slower than usual. So Eric Acosta, if you want to surprise us with something crazy, something a good crazy, be our guest. But just videos covering everything with the Ravens. I know tomorrow they having their pre-draft press conference. That's also known as the Liars Luncheon. Yeah, so that's tomorrow at 11.
Roger's favorite time of the year. You can go ahead and get you some meat, Raj.
So we'll be covering that tomorrow. So that should be interesting as always. But yeah, just trying to stay on top of everything that's going on with the league, because there's always something going on. Even when it's slow, it's always something going on.
Just keep your head up. Just keep your head up and Graven. I ain't gonna say we're gonna win it next year. I ain't gonna do that. But
could happen.
It is in New Orleans, guys.
Hey,
yes, it's in New Orleans. But just keep your head up, man. We gonna fight through.
Yeah, hope so, man. Fight the good fight.
Well, Engraven, we appreciate you. Everybody put your hands together one more time for the one, the only Engraven Viz. Make sure y'all check out his channel at Engraven Viz. Follow him on all social media platforms, and he got videos dropping each and every day. Engraven, thank you again, my brother. As always, and we'll talk to you after the draft.
All right, I'll see y'all, man.
Yes, sir. Once again, Engraven Viz.